to the Rowdy.com Big 3 2009 edition. Do you mind? Sorry. I'm Bassmasters. He's Buck Fever. We're talking NASCAR as we do every day at Rowdy.com. Jerome Buzz Cutler has the 3 big burning issues of today. Please tell us what they are.
Well, this is the COT edition.
Ooh.
First, I give you Jeff Gordon. Remember him?
Yep.
Successful race car driver.
Mm-hmm.
This is a quote from young Mr. Gordon. He says, I really credit NASCAR right now because right now we have a series that can operate without manufacturers. We don't want to, but they could. This sport could survive without them.
Yeah, well,
and he says that's because of the COT.
I don't know if it's because of the COT, but he makes a good point. They don't need manufacturer support to actually run the series. They're all running the same car. It's not really a Ford.
He's pointing to what NASCAR said all along, which is that, yes, there's a short-term cost to switch over to these cars, but they're so tightly controlled and the bodies are so templatized, and you take the same car to different racetracks, that once you get there, the cost is less. So the series could survive without manufacturer support
and it may well
in
have
any
to.
case, but maybe it is a little cheaper as far as getting the car to the racetrack and racing it. Obviously, you'll spend whatever you can on technology to improve your speed.
I think
but
the broader.
I think he's got a point.
I think the broader point is, if GM bails, if Ford were to bail the series, it would suck, but it wouldn't matter that much to the racing at all.
It's really the racing itself, because again, we say it all the time here, it's relative. It's not absolute speed, it's speed relative to each other. So if everybody takes a financial hit, relatively speaking, you're still the same.
It may happen too.
It may well happen.
Issue number 2.
Issue number 2 is a quote from Carl Edwards. Remember him?
Yeah.
He says...
You think we forget all these guys in the offseason?
Well, you know, Bass did just use the word templatized.
I'm sorry. Oh, here he is.
Templatized.
This is a quote from Carl Edwards. NASCAR is all about the competition, and the car of tomorrow raises the level.
I don't know if it raises the level.
Survey says not true.
What he's saying, I think, well, actually, what he's saying, I believe, is that it puts some of it back in the driver's hands.
Okay.
Because the cars are more similar. And we've seen it. If you looked at the times and you look at the difference between a first-place car and a last-place car, it seems today, with this car, it is less. Obviously, he's one of the guys that's adapted rather well.
What he's saying is, what he's saying is, it increases the level of competition for me because I seem to be able to handle the car really, really well. So does Jimmy Johnson. I was the only guy in the ballpark with him last year, so I love this new car because it looks like no one else can beat us.
He says it puts it in the driver's hands. I think that's basically what he's saying, and we've heard that from other places, you got to admit.
I don't think the level of competition has gotten better. I think it's gotten better for him. And I don't fault them for feeling that way.
All right, issue number 3. Assuming that there will and should be a COT 2.0, what timeline should that fall under?
I think they got to run it one more season at this point because start with the cost of switching over to something else and making modifications.
Yes, 5 years. Give it a rest, man.
We were all talking about maybe more travel in the front end. That was an idea that a lot of guys had to maybe fix the current version, which wouldn't be a big changeover. I don't think it'd be a regulation change. I
mean, maybe do that, but seriously.
But as far as going to a more, say, nationwide car where it's got a spoiler instead of wing on the back, some people say that's better. You can't do something like that for at least another year.
We can't be
Come back to me next year at this time.
We cannot be turning the sport upside down every single year.
NASCAR's basically said, look, we're going to run this thing for a while so that we're sure if we make a change, we're sure it's the right change. And there's some merit in that.
I mean, let the Carl Edwards and the Casey Canes and all these guys get used to this car, learn how to race it, and in fact, do what Carl Edwards says, increase the level of competition. Because if you change the car again, you will decrease the level of competition. Just leave it the way it is. Let's let these guys sort of figure it out. Let Joey Logano have his shot. Let Scott Speed have his shot. And let's just calm down and stop turning everything upside down.
You know, it's not funny to have you telling people to calm down. That's just...
I got to get out of my shell more.
Yeah. That's it for today. So we're going to leave it alone. The Rowdy.com Big 3, that is it for today's edition. Please join us at Rowdy.com. Had a new member post a ton of pictures over there.
Graham,
which is cool.
Somebody? Awesome.
Yeah, so there's still a lot going on over there. Friends to make, pictures to look at, videos to see, podcasts to listen to. Do join us. For Buck, I'm Bass. We'll see you next time.
At Rowdy.com.
Yeah. Friendly smile. Ready? Go.
It feels like a car crash in the street. You bump somebody, it's like over and over again. It's like kip, boom, boom, kip, boom, boom.
Rowdy.